Development Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello students, welcome to the class of Business Studies. You are learning management and the functions of the management. You are started with the first function of management, that is planning, which means thinking in advance about the future. In other words, thinking in advance about what you will do in future, which is called as planning. And planning is the first, most basic function of the management on which the whole structure of the management depends. The second function of the management is organizing, which means what you will do in order to achieve the objectives of the management, which speaks about the organizing, which is the second function of the management, which take the initiative of putting the plan into the action, which take the initiative of defining the jobs, which take the initiative of allocating the resources and defining the relation between the employees who are working in an organization. And who will going to do it is another function of the management. Who will going to help in achieving the objectives of the management is another function of the management, which is the third important function of the management. Ms. Utkarsha, who is a partner of Buildwell Associates, she bought a high-end, fully automatic Mercedes car. Now she wants a driver to drive this car. She puts an advertisement in the newspaper to employ a driver for this high-end and fully automatic Mercedes car. She got 12 applications. On one day, she called the interview of all these candidates who have applied for the post of driver. While conducting the interview and in the process of conducting the interview, she finds one person from the prospective candidates whom she knows from many years, Mr. Joseph, who was earlier a truck driver who never drove this type of the vehicle, who does not know about the functioning of the fully automatic and high-end Mercedes car. He was not aware about the software of this car. But since Ms. Utkarsha knows this person and he was ready to work for a less salary, she decided to appoint Mr. Joseph as her driver for this newly bought car. Now every morning, whenever Mr. Joseph is to come for the work, whenever he is to make an attempt to drive the car, there is to be some other problem. And every day there were some problems and the technicians were called to solve these issues. One fine day, Ms. Utkarsha took car to the workshop of the Mercedes. And there she consulted automobile engineer, who checked the whole car. And the automobile engineer came to the conclusion and he said that there is nothing wrong with the car, but the driver who has been appointed is not aware about the many functionings of this particular car. He is not aware about the operations of this car. He has never driven this type of the car, and there is a problem with the driver who has been appointed to drive this particular car. So the automobile engineer tells Ms. Utkarsha, you have appointed a wrong person for this particular job who does not have the knowledge of this particular car, who does not have the knowledge of the technology of this car, who does not know the operations of this car, and that is the reason there is a problem with the result, with the driving of this particular car. So this engineer tells her, it is very necessary to appoint the right person for the right job with the right type of the expertise, with the right type of the skill at the right time, that will help you to give the right type of the result. And this is what we will going to study today, and that is staffing. Staffing is the third important function of the management, which speaks about identifying the right person for the right job with the right qualifications at the right time. This is what is being told by automobile engineer to Miss Utkarsha, and that is called as staffing. When you are appointing a right person, a person who has the knowledge of doing that particular job, a person who has the qualification of doing that particular job, a person who has the skill of doing that particular job, and it has been done at the right time, which is called as staffing. And staffing is very important function of the management. If the staffing is not done properly, then there will be the problem in the productivity, there will be the problem in the efficiency of the organization. Staffing also means a managerial function in which positions are filled and it has been kept for a long period of time. It also means filling the positions and keeping the positions filled for a longer period of time, which in other words means when you are appointing somebody for a particular job, you are not appointing the person by looking at the face of the person, but you go through a long procedure. There are different tests which are being conducted. Interviews are being conducted. The interest of the person is being measured. The potential of the person is being measured. And only when you come to know that this person is most suitable for this particular job, then only you take a decision of appointing that particular person. And that is called as staffing. So because of that, when you are appointing a particular candidate, a particular employee, that person should also remain in the organization for a longer period of time, which means the process of filling the positions and keeping the positions filled for a longer period of time. And if the person does not remain with you for a longer period of time, that means the process of selection that you have followed, the process of selecting the candidate that you have followed is not a good process of selection. So today we'll be talking in detail about the staffing, which is the third important function of the management. I told you staffing means finding the right person for the right job with the right qualifications at the right time, which is very important to increase the productivity, to increase the efficiency of the organization. Now we will talk about the teaching objectives of this particular lesson, which means what are the different subtopics we'll be discussing under this particular chapter. So we'll be talking about the concept and the importance of staffing. We'll be talking about the staffing as a human resource management. I'll be telling you about the process of staffing. We'll be also talking about the aspects of staffing under which there is a recruitment. Under the recruitment, there will be internal and the external sources of recruitment. There will be selection, process of the selection, training and development, which will be another aspect of staffing, and the significance, importance of the training and development. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is about the significance of the staffing. That is the importance of the staffing. I told you that staffing helps to appoint the right person for the right job with the right qualifications at the right time. So when you do this, how is it important? When you do this, how is it significant for the organization, and not only for the organization, also for an employee? First thing that speaks here is about the discovery of competent personnel. Staffing helps in discovering and obtaining the competent personnel by following the different techniques of recruitment and selection of the employees, which means staffing is helping. Staffing, as we all know, it means finding the right person for the right job. So this thing helps to discover, helps to obtain, find out the competent personnel, the best person who has the quality of doing this particular work, who has the expertise of doing this particular work, who has the right qualification for doing this particular work. That person is called as a competent person. So you are discovering and obtaining the competent personnel with the help of the different techniques of recruitment and the selection available. In order to recruit the employees, there are different techniques available in the market today. There used to be only newspaper through which used to advertise about the different posts, and the people used to apply for the jobs and then used to conduct the interviews, and the people or the candidates were appointed. But now, of late, there are many other modern techniques available, like advertisements on television, websites. There are many other recruitment sources available to search the prospective candidates. Also, to select the candidate, there are different tests conducted. And only after the candidate is qualified in the different tests, then only it is decided to have a personal interview with the candidate, and finally that candidate is been selected. So by following these techniques, you can recruit and select the employees. And when you are employing these candidates who are the principal assets of an organization, who are acting as in principal assets of the organization, who helps to improve the productivity of the organization, who helps to improve the efficiency of the organization, always help to reduce the wastages. It might be the wastages of the materials, it might be the wastages of time, money, or any other resources. So when the right people are appointed, it always helps to make the best use of the resources without waste of any resources, without waste of any material, monetary, or any other resources. The second importance of staffing is obtaining the higher efficiency. I have said earlier, staffing means finding the right person for the right job with the right qualification at the right time. So when you are finding a person with the right qualification, with the right expertise, with the right skill, with the right intelligence, with the right capabilities, that person always do the work which he is supposed to do by putting in maximum efforts, because he likes to do that particular job. That is the specialization of this person. This is what he likes to do, and that's why the efficiency, the output that he gives is always higher as compared to another person who does not like to do that particular job, who does not have the specialization, who does not have the skill of doing that particular person. So staffing always helps to increase the efficiency of the employees, always helps to improve the productivity of the employees. The next importance talks about the optimum utilization of resources, which means making the best use of the resources, which means making the maximum use of the resources available with you. That is called as optimum utilization of resources. We have already learned what is meant by staffing. I have already told you what is staffing. Staffing means finding the right person for the right job with the right qualifications at the right time. Which means you have a job satisfaction when you are doing a particular job which you like to do. You are performing a particular job in which you have a specialization. At the end of the day, doing such work which you like to do, which is your specialization. You have learned to do this work for years together, and you are happy doing this particular work. This gives you the job satisfaction. This provides you a job satisfaction, because being happy doing a particular work always helps a person to increase the productivity. always helps a person to improve the productivity, to improve the efficiency of the organization. Because of that, job satisfaction is always required. Job satisfaction is always must in an organization, and that is possible because of staffing. Staffing provides job satisfaction to the employees working in an organization. The last importance, the last significance of the staffing is motivation of human resources. It is always said that the human resources are the most precious assets of an organization. If the human resources are motivated, you can make the best use of the technology. You can make the best use of the machineries available with you. Or you have the best of the technology of the world. You have the best of the machineries of the world. You have all the best of the things you have hired. But say for example, if your employees are not motivated, if your employees are not convinced to work in an organization, if they are not ready to put in the maximum efforts in an organization, then in that case, the results will be zero, even after having the best of the technology. And because of that, it should be always seen that the right person is put in the right job. The person who likes to perform a particular job should be given that particular job. That helps to motivate the employees, because motivation can make a big difference. Motivation always helps to get the maximum results. Motivation helps to increase the profits of the organization, and because of staffing, it is only because of staffing, employees of the organization gets motivated to put in maximum efforts to contribute more and more to the organization, because the work that they are doing, they like to do it. The work that they are doing, that is motivating them to put in more and extra efforts in an organization, and because of that staffing, because of the staffing, the best of the employees can be employed. The employees likes to do the particular work. The employees are doing what in which they are specialized. Employees are improving their productivity, and finally they are happy because they are motivated. So this speaks about the importance, significance of the staffing. Now we will move on to the next concept of staffing, which is called as a human resource department. Now when we talk about the business organizations, in business organizations, there are many departments. Each of the department is specialized in doing a very special type of the job. We talk about the purchase department. Purchase department is looking after all the purchases of a business organization. Sales department is specialized in making the sales of the organization, how better they can increase the sales of the organization. That is the specialization of the sales department. You talk about the accounts department, which is responsible for keeping the accounts, maintaining the records of the transactions, purchase and the sales transactions, which is also responsible for keeping the records of the employees who are working and paying them the salaries. That is the responsibility of accounts department. Similarly, in every organization where people are working, where human resource has been employed, there is a need of the human resource department which looks after the growth and the development of the human resources working in that particular organization, which looks after the complaints and the grievances of the people who are working in that particular organization. And that's why every organization needs a department which is called as a human resource department. What are the duties of this human resource department? Because human resource department is always a part of the staffing. Human resource department is a part of the staffing, and because of that, human resource department has its own duties to be performed to take care of the welfare of the workers, to take care of the social security of the workers, to take care of the growth of the employees working in an organization. So let's talk about the duties of human resource department which is working in every business organization. It talks about the recruitment, which is one of the most important duty of a human resource department. Now, what is mean by recruitment? I told you in staffing, staffing means finding the right person for the right job, with the right qualification, with the right expertise, right skill, at the right time, and that is called as staffing. So in this process of staffing, there is something called as recruitment which has been done. Now, what is mean by recruitment? Recruitment means search for the qualified candidates to fill in the vacancies. It is a search for the prospective candidates to fill in the vacancies, and that is called as recruitment. So it is the duty of the human resource department to search for the prospective candidates to fill in the vacancies of the organization. If, say, for example, there is a vacancy of the accountant in an organization, you want to fill this vacancy. So simply people will not come to know that there is a vacancy in a particular organization. You have to make people aware about this. You have to advertise about this vacancy. You have to advertise about this vacant post, and then only the prospective candidates will come to know that there is a post, vacant post available in a particular organization, and then they will start applying. So this is search for the qualified people, search for the potential people, and stimulating them, motivating them, appealing them to apply for the jobs is called as recruitment. So this is one of the duty of the human resource department. Second is selection. Now you have motivated the people to apply for the jobs. You have appealed prospective candidates to apply for the jobs. Now the people will apply for the jobs. Applications will come to the business organization, to a particular company. Now then there will be scrutiny of these applications. Some applications which are unsuitable, which are not matching the requirements of the organization, according to the applications, will be rejected. And those applications which are accepted by the organization, those candidates called for the interview, the test will be conducted of those candidates, and they will be selected. All will not be selected. After conducting the test, after conducting the interviews, the best candidate will be chosen out of the number of prospective candidates, and that is called as selection. Selection cannot be done overnight, or selection cannot be done by looking at the face of the prospective candidate, but you have to conduct proper test. You have to conduct proper interviews. You have to conduct the medical test, and then you have to decide, yes, one of the candidate out of the 10 or 20 is the best candidate out of the number of prospective candidates available with you, and that is called as selection. So this is the duty of the human resource department in an organization. Next talks about developing compensation and incentive plans for the employees. I already said that the employees, human resource, personnel working in an organization is the most precious asset of an organization. So there are many compensation schemes developed by the organizations, which may vary from an organization to the organization. Every organization may not have the same compensation schemes. If you talk about the employees, the workers working in an organization, they have joint insurance schemes, which means there is a joint insurance policy on the name of many employees. And if, say, for example, any one of the employees met into an accident while they are working or during the working hours, then there is a scheme designed how to compensate the losses of this injury of this particular employee. How to compensate the loss that has incurred to this particular employee. A scheme is being designed by the organization, which is the duty of the human resource department. depending upon what percentage of injury this particular person has got. What percentage, whether there is an injury to the hand, then accordingly the compensation amount will be decided. If there is an injury to the right leg or the left leg or to some other part of the body, how long this person will have to stay at home, on the basis of that the compensation scheme will be developed and designed. So this is the duty of the human resource department. Next comes about the incentive plans. Incentive plans are being designed to pay a little more than what the regular employee is getting for the extra work, extra contribution that they do, in order to motivate them to put in more to the organization. This more can be their time, this more can be the efforts, this more can be something else in order to improve the productivity of the organization. So designing these incentive plans in order to pay something more to the employees who are doing more to the organization. So this is the duty of the human resource department, of developing the compensation plans to the employees, providing them compensation to the loss of the injury, loss of the life, or maybe any other loss, compensating those losses, and also the incentive plans which helps to motivate the employees to put in more in the organization. The next duty of the human resource department is providing social security and preparing a welfare schemes for the employees. Take an example of the government of India. There are so many social security schemes. Like, DS, there are many social security schemes which are being designed by the government in order to provide the security to the people of our country. Similarly, there are some companies which also design some social security and welfare schemes to the employees and the family members of the employees. Like, say, for example, the welfare schemes like providing free medical facilities to the workers and the family members of the workers, providing free transport and the accommodation to the workers and the family members of the workers, providing scholarships to the children of the workers, providing maybe the free books and other facilities to the family, to the children of the workers, and many more things for the welfare of the employees, so that the employees gets motivated. For the security of the employees, like the joint policy, insurance policy to the family members of the workers, or maybe after the retirement, compensation or the retirement benefits which has been paid to the family members of the workers. There are so many social security and the welfare schemes designed by some of the companies in order to motivate the employees while they are working in an organization, in order to induce them to put more efforts, to put more time in the organization. Many social welfare and the social security schemes are being developed, which is again the duty of the human resource department. Next comes is the conduct training and development programs for the career growth of the employees. It is again said that every employee who gets an employment has also the right to rise high in their life. Every employee has the right to rise high in their life. And because of that, it is a duty of the human resource department to conduct training courses, to conduct development courses, to update the knowledge of the workers, to update the knowledge of the employees, to refresh the knowledge of the employees, to provide orientation to the employees, like sometimes conducting seminars, workshops, orientation courses, refresher courses, in order to update their knowledge so that they know what is the latest thing that is happening in the society. They get the latest knowledge, they get the latest information about the marketing strategies, about the different technology, about the different methods which are available in the market today, so that they update their knowledge and they learn more and more things in order to rise high in their life. So this is the right of every employee. This is the right of every human resource And it is the duty of the human resource department to provide training and development courses to the employees so that they rise high in their life. Okay, the next duty of the human resource department is providing solutions to the complaints and the grievances of the employees. Now, when the workers or the employees are working in the organizations, they have many complaints, they have many grievances, which is always put before the departmental head or which is always put before the management. So, in order to provide solutions to the problems and the grievances of the workers who are working in an organization, it is the duty of the human resource department. Like there can be a problem at the working place, there might be lack of proper working conditions. Now, there can be some differences between the people who are working at the workplace, or there might not be proper canteen facilities, or there might not be, the machineries are not in a good condition, or they are not in a working condition, or they are not been repaired on time, or the proper maintenance of the machineries is not done. Then this can be the grievances of the employees. They can put these complaints in front of the departmental head. So these grievances, these problems, these difficulties, complaints of the employees should be heard on time, and proper solutions should be provided to the grievances and the complaints of the workers. And finally, the last duty of the human resource department is conducting orientation program for the growth and development of the workers. I have said that every worker has a right to grow in their life. Every worker has a right to rise in their life, right to develop in their life. So conducting all those courses, orientation courses, which will provide them the latest information, which will provide them the updated information, which will give them the knowledge about the latest technology, which will give them the knowledge of the latest methods and the technical know-how. This type of the programs should be conducted and organized by the human resource department for the growth and the development of the human resource. So these are the duties of the human resource department in the organization, and staffing becomes the part of this human resource department. So unless and until you provide or you perform these duties well, there cannot be a growth of the employees. There cannot be a proper development of the employees. Right type of the employees cannot be employed. The efficiency, the productivity of the employees cannot be good. And that's why the duties has to be performed by the human resource department with a full sincerity. The next sub-concept or the subtopic that we'll be discussing is the steps in the process of staffing. The procedure which are involved in doing the staffing, which means the procedure involved in finding the right person for the right job with the right qualifications at the right time. There are some steps involved in finding the right person for the right job with the right qualification at the right time. So let's talk about this process. Let's talk about the steps which are involved in staffing. The first thing that you need to do is estimating the manpower requirements. This means staffing helps to estimate the requirement of the manpower with the specific set of education, with the specific set of skills, with the specific set of intelligence, the specialization. This is very, very important. The first thing, identifying the number of vacancies, identifying the number of vacant positions in an organization. That is the first thing should be done in the staffing. If you don't know how many vacancies are there, how many vacant posts are there, how many jobs are to be filled, and directly if you are going for the rest of the procedure of selection and recruiting the employees, it will be useless. Otherwise, you require only 2 engineers and you are appointing 10 engineers. Vacancies are only 2. You have not followed the proper procedure. You have violated this particular procedure, and because of that, you have to first find out, estimate the number of vacancies available, number of posts you have to fill, number of vacancies available in the organization, identify how many vacancies are there in an organization. This is the first step in the staffing. Once you know how many vacancies are there, of what nature, of what education, of what skill, of what specialization, of what experience, then you go to the next step in the staffing process, which is called as recruitment. Recruitment is the second step in the process of staffing. Now, what is mean by recruitment? Recruitment means search for the prospective candidates, search for the suitable candidates, search for the qualified candidate, and stimulating them to apply for the jobs is called as recruitment. Second step in the staffing process is searching for the right type of the candidate according to the requirement of the organization. You require an accountant who should be the postgraduate in advanced accountancy with 5 years of experience. Then you have to also search for the prospective candidates which will match with the requirement of the organization. This is very important. Otherwise, your requirement is one thing and you are searching for a different type of the candidate will not help an organization to do the right type of the staffing. So, here you are stimulating the prospective candidates to apply for the jobs. You are appealing them to apply for the jobs. And recruitment is done by finding out the different sources, for the potential candidates. So, this is the second step in the process of staffing, that is recruitment. So, once you have done the search, advertisement has to be done for the search of the potential candidate and finding out the sources through which you can get this potential candidate, which will be done with the help of the advertisement. Now, the third step in the process of staffing is selection. I have said earlier that in the recruitment, you are appealing the candidates to apply for the jobs. You got the jobs, you got the applications, you scrutinize the applications. Once you scrutinize the application, you will accept some of the application, you may reject some of the applications. The applications which are unsuitable, the applications which are not complete in its information, which does not match according to the requirement, you reject those applications. You accept the applications which are matching your requirements, you conduct the interview to them, and then comes the third step, which is called as a selection, which means choosing the best candidate out of the number of prospective candidates available with you. It is called as a selection. Now, you may have 10 candidates with you. You have interviewed 10 candidates. You have conducted the test for 10 candidates, but the vacancies are only 2. So, finally, you will select only 2 candidates out of the number of candidates available with you, which are the best. After finding out all the positive points and ignoring all the negative points, you will select the only 2 candidates which are the best, choosing the best candidates out of the number of prospective candidates available with you is called as selection. So, once the selection is done, you have selected the best candidate. Now, the next comes is the placement and the orientation. You have selected the best candidate. Now, you have to give the place to that candidate whom you have appointed, whom you have selected. You cannot ask him, okay, you are selected now, start working. What he will work? He is not told what to do. He is not told where to work. He is not told which is his place. If somebody you are appointing as a machine operator, then he should be given a place and a machine where he will going to machine he will going to operate. If somebody is appointed as an accounts clerk, he should be given a table, he should be given a chair, he should be given a place where he will going to work. If somebody is appointed as a security, then he should be told where you are supposed to stand. Which is your place, on which gate you are supposed to stand. This is called as a placement, which is again very important. After selecting a candidate, And then comes the orientation. Orientation means once you have done the placement, once you have told the person which is the place where he has to work, what is his position, then comes the orientation of the job, which means introducing an employee to the organization and organization to the employee. Which means this employee you should be taken around the campus of the factory or around the campus of the industry and should be shown all the places of the organization. Where is the canteen? Where is the drinking water? How many gates this particular campus has? Which is the entry gate? Which is the exit gate? Who is his boss? Where does his boss sit? Which cabin? All the introduction of the organization should be done to the employee. And then the employee should be introduced to the organization. Employee should be introduced to the organization and organization to the employee, which means employee should be told everything, all the places of the organization. And then comes the organizational rules and regulations. What is the timing of coming? What is the timing of leaving? What is the timing of a lunch break? Whom he should report, from whom he should take the orders. All the code and conduct of the organization, all the disciplinary rules of the organization. If you misbehave, what will be the disciplinary action? Everything should be introduced to him so that he is aware about the organization, and every time he does not have to question and ask somebody for help. So that's why the placement and orientation of the employee should be done once the employee is selected in an organization. Next comes is a training and development. Next comes is a training and development. I said training the employees means equipping the employees with the required skills. Equipping the employee with the required skills, which means when an employee is employed in an organization, he might have the 20 years of experience some other place. He might be working in a similar position in some other factory or some other industry or some other place. But when he is joining a new organization, the methods, the techniques, the ways of this organization might be different from that of the previous organization. And that's why this employee should be given the training, should be told about the techniques, the methods, the ways of this organization before joining the job, which is very, very important. And also, from time to time, the development courses, the development programs, the orientation and the seminars and the workshops should be conducted in order to update the knowledge of these employees so that they remain updated, they remain aware about the new things, the latest things, the modern things which are happening in the organization. And that's why training, maybe on-the-job training or off-the-job training, should be continuously conducted to these employees so that they are updated with the knowledge, they are aware about the different and new things which are happening in the society. At the same time, the development courses which are required for every employee to rise high in their organization, the development programs which helps them to rise high in their organization should be conducted every time in the organization, and that is called as a training and development, which is also should be held in an organization from time to time. When the employees are filled and they are being kept in an organization, these things are very important for an employee to increase the productivity and improve the efficiency of the employee. Next thing comes about promotion and transfer. Again, when the employees are filled and they are kept filled in an organization, there comes the promotions and the transfers in an organization. This is a part and parcel of the staffing. When we are talking about the staffing, promotion also takes place in the staffing and transfers also takes place in the staffing. Now, what is meant by promotion? Promotion is a vertical shifting of an employee from a lower position to the higher position, which means it is a vertical shifting of an employee from a lower position to the higher position with the high pay package, high status, more responsibilities, more authority, and that is called as promotion. Many times the vacancies in the organization are filled internally. In that case, an employee from the same organization who is working in the lower position is been promoted to the higher position, and he's given more powers there. He's given more pay package, more salary. He's given more authority. He's given more status, more respect in an organization. That is called as transfer, and also that is called as promotion. And also there is a transfer, which means a horizontal shifting of an employee from one department to another department, or maybe from one shift to another shift, or maybe from one division to another division without changing the pay package, without changing the status, without changing the authority. Sometimes the nature of the job, the contents of the job may change, but the status, pay package of the employee does not change. It is a horizontal shifting, and that is called as a transfer. So the promotion and the transfer happens in the organization, which is a part, one step of the staffing. It has to happen in the staffing when the employees are filled in the organization and kept filled in the organization. Promotion and transfer has to happen in an organization. The next step is a aspect of staffing, which means the different parts of staffing, the different things which happens in the staffing, the different concepts of the staffing. I told you that if your staffing should be effective, then what is more important is what you are doing in the staffing. If you are staffing the best of the people, you are appointing at the right time with the right qualifications in order to fill up the vacancies, then there are some important aspect of the staffing where due care must be taken while performing these aspects, and these are three important aspects of staffing, which is called as a recruitment, selection, and training and development. All three are very important if you want the best of the employees to be selected in an organization. If you want the result-oriented personnel working in your organization, you need to take due care about the staffing, and three important aspects should be performed well. The first thing is about the recruitment. I have said it earlier. Recruitment means search for the qualified people, search for the prospective candidates, search for the suitable candidates with a required set of education, with the required set of skills, with the required experience. This is called as recruitment. And also stimulating, appealing the prospective candidates to apply for the jobs is called as recruitment. So the recruitment means search for the prospective candidates and stimulating them to apply for the jobs is called as recruitment, which is very important. If your recruitment is effective, then your next step will be effective. If you have not followed the recruitment process properly, then you might not get the applications from the best candidates. And if you don't get the applications from the best candidates, the appointed candidate, the selected candidates will also not be good. And that's why due care must be taken while doing the recruitment. Now, when we are talking about the recruitment, there are sources of recruitment, which means there are internal sources of recruiting and the external sources of recruitment. Now, the internal source of recruitment means, searching the candidates internally within the organization, without going outside the organization, maybe within the department, or maybe between the departments of the same organization. And that is called as an internal source of recruitment. Search of the prospective candidates within the organization internally without going outside the organization is called as an internal source of recruitment. Now, there are two important internal sources of recruitment. I have said about the promotion. Promotion means an employee working as an accounts clerk is promoted as an accounts officer, is taken at a higher position by giving the higher responsibility, higher status, higher salary. This is called as a promotion. You are not going outside the organization. You are doing it within the organization. Promotion is done from a lower position. One employee is taken and promoted, taken to the higher position by giving the higher salary and higher status. Or maybe sometimes from a sales department, a sales officer is taken and given a position of a accounts manager. Maybe if he has a specialization, he is given the accounts manager post, promotion within the organization. This is called as a promotion. Maybe a sales manager is given a position of a senior manager or general manager of the company. This is the internal source of recruitment. A vacancy is available of the senior manager. Now fill up this vacancy. Instead of going outside and advertising and getting somebody from outside, internally you are promoting one person and giving the post of the senior manager. This is called as promotion. Another source, internal source, is a transfer. You are transferring a sales manager as a purchase manager, or you are transferring the accounts clerk as a marketing clerk, or transferring the one employee from the morning shift to the evening shift. There is no change in the salary. There is no change in the status. There is no change in the powers. There can be change in the nature of the job sometimes. A person working in the sales department, when he goes to the accounts department, the type of the work that he wants to perform might be different. But there is no change in the authority, no change in the powers, no change in the pay package of the employees, which is the internal source of recruitment. So there are two internal sources of recruitment. That is, one is a promotion, which is a vertical shifting of an employee from a lower position to the higher position by giving the higher package, higher status, more powers, and the more responsibilities. Transfer is a horizontal shifting of an employee from one shift or from one department or from one division to another division without change in the pay package, without change in the authority or in the status of the employee. So that is about the internal sources of recruitment. So we discussed about the staffing. I told you about the concept and the significance of the staffing. We spoke on the staffing as a part of the human resource department and what is the role of the human resource department in staffing. We also spoke about the steps involved in the staffing, how you have to go in the sequential order when you are doing staffing, and we also spoke about the aspects of the staffing. And the first aspect of the staffing, along with that, the first part of the recruitment, that is the internal source of recruitment. Internal source of recruitment, I told you about the transfer and the promotion, which the organization does not go out of the organization to employ or to search for the prospective candidate. Instead, organizations search the prospective candidates. Search is done within the organization, and through transfer and the promotion, vacancies are filled. So I have come to the end of the first session of staffing, in which we have discussed first few subtopics of the staffing, and let's meet in the next session of staffing.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.